Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video for Trinity Stamps. I am going to be making a interactive card today. It is a shaker and it also lights up. I'm using the soup can dies, the recharge stamps and dies, the what's the other one? No, that's it. I think that's it. Did I show you something else? I can't remember. Moving on. All right, so this is a shaped card. So I am cutting out the shape of the soup can, and then the recharge. Oh yeah, it's the super die set. That's the main one we're using. What's the matter with me? And so I am going to be doing some die cutting and some ink blending on my die cuts to turn my little soup can into like a D-cell battery, which is super cute. And then the recharge stamp set has like the little flashlight in it and a battery that you can use, but all of the sentiments kind of work really well for this one too. So I'm cutting out, this is going to be my frame to house my shaker. I'm cutting that out of black, and then everything else I am cutting out of white so that I can do the ink blending with it. Oh, except for the little smiley face. There's like a little smiley face and like a little plus signs and stuff that you can cut out to make a little face on your card. So here, this is funny. See what I'm doing here? See how I left that die cut sitting there and now I'm putting my other paper and then my die cut right on top of it? Why am I doing that? Good question. Don't do that, because I am going to I am going to cut right through my frame. So you guys know how cheap I am. And then I had 2 pieces of black cardstock that I cut that right out of because I had to redo it. So here I am redoing it. But anywho, so this is actually going to be my husband's Valentine's Day card. And so he always makes comments that like he never gets fun cards. So here, this one not only lights up, but also is a really cute shaker. And so I'm using this. This is the clingy craft mate. So this is Trinity. This is new from Trinity Stamps. This is the Clingy Craft Mate from Trinity, and it is basically it's a grip mat, a photopolymer grip mat. So it has a piece of acetate on the front, and then it has a piece of acetate on the back. I like to leave the back piece on because then I don't have to worry about it sticking to my work surface. I can just move it around as I need to. Now, some people would like to have it stuck to their work surface, and that's totally fine. So for my back piece, I am doing some ink blending with Hickory Smoke for the back piece, and then for the top, like the positive portion of the battery. And then for the background of the shaker, I wanted to bring in some black soot. Now, originally I thought I was going to do like a whole highlight thing. I did not do that. So truly, I could have just cut this out of black cardstock. You know, when you know better, you do better. And I'm just being honest. So for the pieces up top that are going to create our battery, I am shading it with some yellows and some browns to create like that gold kind of like Duracell battery look. So I started with mustard seed and then moved to fossilized amber. Now I'm using some brushed corduroy. And you can see I'm adding it kind of to the outside edges to create that center highlight, which is going to make it look golden. Alternatively, if you don't want to ink blend them, you absolutely could just cut them out of gold cardstock. And then the last color I did was ground espresso. And then that way I can just move my way back through these colors to the lightest color. And it really does start to look gold once you start to kind of build up those browns. And the yellow just makes everything a little bit brighter. But like I said, you could use gold cardstock. That's fine. You could also color this with markers and get gold. For my little red heart, which is going to be my little indication, my little push button, I'm going to use the candied apple. So here I wanted it to glow, but I need an area where the cardstock is open in order for it to glow from. So I'm using the die for like the positive part to cut that out of its base piece. And then that way I can cut out a second base piece out of vellum, which is going to help diffuse the light, to put behind that. I also cut my acetate out of the background, the full background piece. And then here I did have it stuck a little bit. I tried doing it on my, like on a cutter mat with the X-Acto knife, but I wasn't able to really keep it straight. And so it was just easier for me to get in there to do scissors. You can do whichever one works for you. Sometimes acetate doesn't cut all the way through. Doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. Try pushing it through at an angle or with a piece of cardstock behind it to help it cut. So then I also have the same thing here now with the base of the top of the battery that I have to cut that hole out of. And honestly here, I'm using the smaller one because I was like, well, I hope that'll be enough. But really it was honestly just because I was scared. I was just being a little chicken because I didn't know how the thing was going to cut out. So I tried it one way first. That was a little bit smaller. That did not work. I did eventually go back in with the correct die, the correct size die for that positive piece, and then die cut that out. And then now I can stack them vellum first and then the two die cut portions on top, and it will give me an area for my light to shine through. I chose to use a one light from Pear Blossom Press because I just need 1 point of light. They have a bunch of other ones like the little twinkle lights and stuff that have a couple of different lights on them, but this one's going to work just fine for my needs here. So now let's start to build our shaker portion. You could do both of these like I did. You could use one or the other. You could make it a fun little shaker and that would be cute, or you could make it a fun light up card and that would also be just as cute by itself. So I'm using some rip and stick tape from Trinity around the backside border of this to stick it onto my acetate. So this one's really easy because it's really malleable. So I just stick it and tear it as I go to get the shape that I need. You know, the soup can, which is now our battery, right? Has that rounded bottom edge, and I didn't really have any issues with that. So I'm going to stick this onto my acetate, and that's going to create the lid for my shaker. And then I'll be able to build that up with the foam tape. So there's a couple of different ones that you can use. This one in particular is from scrapbook.com, and I think it's the 3 millimeters thick. It is double thickness, but it is a little too wide. So I'm having to cut that in half. Alternatively, I think Gina K has some foam strips that work really well, like some smaller foam strips, if you don't want to have to cut them apart. But you want to make sure that these are edge to edge to edge. And the reason that you want to make sure that they're edge to edge to edge is because otherwise all of your shaker bits will just fall out. They'll just fall out, and we don't want that. So here I'm going through and just making sure that they butt right up against each other, kind of trimming off the tape and trimming it down as I need to. Now this does mean that my shaped card is going to be quite raised. It will have to be in order to house my shaker bits, but also to house my light. I'm hand delivering mine, so I'm not overly concerned about the depth of it, but if you were mailing this, you would probably want to make sure it was not machined. Here you can see from these sweet little hands, I've gained a helper. So she came home and was ready to help me, of course, with all of my glitters. And so I used the ruby red sparkle hearts. I used the silver sparkle stars because we have that silver at the top. And then I used the red rose hearts. And I pulled out I think they're the pink ones, but I didn't end up using them. The other day when my wonderful sister was here, we found a a shaker card that I had made that was like on the floor under some stuff, and it had gotten like busted open. So I was like, well, don't throw the glitters away. Like, we'll just put them in a bag and Caitlin can use them. Well, here I am using them. Here I am putting them right into this card. They are all from Trinity. They're like the clear sequins and the clear sparkle rhinestones. But it did have some like loose glitter in there, and so that's in there now too. They're all together. I'm just going to put the back on there to create that lid. And then now here, I'm going to need to figure out how to put my light together. I very quickly realized that I needed to be able to slide it into the shaker portion. So thankfully I had really just put it together, and I was able to just kind of pull the top apart, slide the bottom part of the light in, and then I was just able to trim that little foam section. So it was edge to edge with the light, but there is a little bit of a gap. And I didn't want my shaker bits to fall out of the gap. So I just took that same like pre-cut kind of piece of foam tape, and then I am trimming that, and I'm just going to use my tweezers to shove that right back into place, and now it is edge to edge to edge again, and none of my bits are going to fall out. So now I'm going to add my adhesive to glue this down to my card base. I'm just going to line it up so that there's an even white border, and then does anybody make an interactive card that they don't constantly like play with the shaker part or play with the light? Because I am always just playing with it. So here, this top part of the battery does need to be lifted up by the same amount of foam tape so it is flush and everything looks like it goes together. So that's what you see me doing here. I can't have the foam piece across the middle because I need that. It will block the vellum. It'll block the light from the vellum. So I did have to move my light up just a little bit. That was no big deal. I just scooted it up, and then I laid my foam piece down. I didn't smush it down. So I was able to pick it back up and then cut it on the other side so that there was a gap in between. I'm just going in here. Oh, there's my little helper. She's also likes to play with my interactive cards. I'm just going in here and putting it right onto the foam tape. But if you're worried about needing a little bit of wiggle room, you can put a little bit of liquid adhesive down first. This is the piece that we cut out. I'm going to slide that behind so that it still appears to be gray, but with the light there, it won't fit perfectly. So I'm just going to trim off just a little bit of the edge so that I can tuck it in, because when we're looking through that vellum, I don't want to be looking at the yellow or the white. I want to be looking at the gray that matches the rest of the battery that we've colored. And then I'm going to glue the top to that vellum piece, and then all of it will get glued to the top of the battery. And then that little top piece, like that extra layer, will get glued to the vellum. So the only part that's actually showing of the vellum is the middle section. And that's going to let the light shine through and match our little sentiment. So when they push the button, the battery turns on. Here, I did realize that you could see just a little bit of the yellow. So I'm going in with a gray, and just knocking out that edge just to kind of clean it up and make sure everything looks and flows really well together. Then for my little face, like this is so cute. This is the little face it comes with, right? It's adorable. And my little heart is going to be like this little sprig of hair right up there at the top, but it's going to be my push button. But because of my sentiment there, I couldn't, for some reason, I just could not get that lined up. I did slide a little bit of piece of foam tape behind that, by the way, so that it was nice and secure. I wanted to do the heart, but I needed it to be an indication that they should put, like, that he should push it. But also, so my sentiment is a little bit like, it's my husband's Valentine's Day card. So it's a little bit flirty. It's a little bit kind of like wink, wink. So I thought that it would be cute if my little battery, instead of having two like open eyes and a smiley face, had like an open eye and like a little winky face. Like a little sly smile and a winky face, to go with my sentiment. I thought it would be really cute, really cute. So that's what I did. And I just cut a small, just flat piece of black cardstock. I pulled out I can't remember the name of the stamp set, but I'll link it below. It's like the interactive one that says push. There's like a bunch of different ones, push, pull, all kinds of stuff in there that gives directions. So I used the push. I stamped that onto the side of the heart. And then that's going to go right over top of the button that's included in the little one light, so that it turns on. Like you can see, I'm totally I can't stop pressing the button. And while I'm sitting here talking to you, I have the card in front of me, and I am denying myself the urge to press the button because you would hear the clicking, but you can't help it with an interactive card. You just want to do it. You just want to press the buttons. So here is my little heart sprig with my little winky face, super cute. And then this is actually like the whole entirety of the card. I did get some glue on places I didn't want. That's an adhesive eraser. But I did want to add just a little bit more dimension. This totally is not necessary, but I am just one of those people who can't help myself. So I'm using a YR24 and a Y08 to add a little bit of extra shading to the left and right hand sides, and then also up top where the battery portions are meeting, I am going to add some further dimension to that top part of that battery with some cool gray markers, just to help give it a little bit more shading and a little bit more realism. You can, and you'll see me do it here shortly, you can color the vellum. I'm just going to add one little line underneath the top portion of the battery just to give it a little bit of separation, but you will still be able to see the light. So now that that is all done, I can finally fold this over and create it as a full card. I'm reinforcing that fold with my bone folder, and look at her. She's adorable. For my sentiment, this, like I said, has a couple of really fun ones. There's "You Light Up My Life," like recharge and relax, but it's a Valentine's Day card for my husband. So I went with the "You Turn Me On," because we have this little battery that has the little light. It's a little, winky face, kind of like tongue in cheek, super cute. So I stamped it in a white pigment ink onto black cardstock. And then when you cut these out, they all cut out individually. So I was able to arrange them so that they were more a stacked sentiment versus a long sentiment, which worked better for my design. And then in order, you guys know I love to accent my sentiments. In order to do that, I used some of those red rose heart embellishments and just accented those kind of to the bottom left and to the top right. And then that was it. That was the last thing that I did. So here's the little shaker bit of it, and then we're going to do the light. My little one wanted to see what it looked like with the lights off. So I turned off the lights so that she could show you what it looked like. And then that's it. That's the whole card. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.